My husband wanted to open up our marriage, so I started dating his boss. Now he wants to close it. Let me just start by saying that I didn't mean to start dating his boss, it all happened accidentally. My husband and I have been married for almost 8 years now. We have always had a healthy marriage and a great intimacy life, or so I thought. It came completely out of the blue when my husband sat me down a couple months ago and said that he was feeling unsatisfied with our physical connection, and he needed something more to be able to feel fulfilled. I was so confused. We are intimate a couple times a week and he never gave any indication that he was feeling unhappy in the bedroom. I was feeling hurt before he even dropped the bomb on me that he wanted to open up our marriage. I felt so small and unwanted as he rambled on about wanting to experience more freedom, but he assured me that he loved me and he wanted to stay together. I asked him why I wasn't enough for him, and if there was anything I could change to make him happier in the bedroom or in our marriage in general. But all he said was that it had more to do with his masculinity than me. This didn't make me feel better, but I love him and we had already been together for so long. I agreed and we decided to be open from that day on. Our only terms was that we had to disclose to the other when we would start seeing other people. The first couple weeks were excruciating. He immediately started seeing a woman from his office, and I would just stay at home and cry myself to sleep while I pictured him out with a younger, more attractive woman. I was devastated for a while and I honestly had zero interest in dating anyone other than my husband. But after 5 months of him dating his one girlfriend and spending most nights with her instead of at home with me, I decided that I deserved to experience some freedom as well. I made a Tinder account one night while he was out with his girlfriend. I was surprised when I got over 100 matches on the very first night. No one was really catching my attention until matched with this one, very handsome older man. He seemed very successful and he was a gorgeous silver fox. I ended up messaging him and we went out a couple of days later. I remember the feeling of waiting for him at the bar. It felt nice to have romantic butterflies for the first time in almost a decade. The date went amazingly and we continued seeing each other and eventually slept together. It was one of the most thrilling, erotic nights of my life. I hate to say it, but he was a much more talented lover than my husband, I guess because he was older and had more experience. Anyway, I told my husband about my boyfriend and it honestly seemed like he didn't believe me. He literally patted me on the head and said, "Aw, good for you honey," before heading out the door to spend the night with his girlfriend. Anyway, things got messy in a way I could have never anticipated. I knew the situation was already sort of rocky, but now I truly feel like I'm living inside a soap opera. Yesterday my boyfriend texted me asking if he had left a manila folder in my car the last time we saw each other. I found the folder and he asked if I could drop it off at his job. I was off that day and I figured they were important work documents, so I gathered the folder and a little snack and he sent me his location so I could come drop it off. You can imagine how stunned I was when I followed the address, and it took me to my husband's place of work. I had no idea that he and my husband worked together. All I knew was that he was the head of whatever company he worked for, and he held the highest position in his office. He never spoke much about his work and we just liked to relax when we hung out together. Well, I walked into the office feeling awkward about possibly seeing my husband. Well, I walked to my boyfriend's office and he came out to take the folder from me. He thanked me and gave me a little kiss before going back into his office. When I turned around, of course, my husband happened to be walking by at that exact moment. He had obviously seen his boss kiss me and realized that he had been my boyfriend all along. His mouth made a perfect O shape and there was hurt creeping into his eyes. I felt sort of embarrassed at that moment even though I had done nothing wrong, so I just said hi to my husband quickly and left the office. When my husband finally got home, he broke down in tears and asked how I could do this to him. I reminded him that this entire situation was his idea in the first place. That's when my husband said that he was willing to close the marriage if it meant I would stop seeing his boss. The thing is, I have real feelings for my boyfriend, and I feel like my husband is being controlling and unfair. I find myself doubting my entire marriage and I think I might end up having to choose between the two of them, which is why I decided to sleep with my father and be with him for the rest of my life. Daddy's girl forever.